In our balance program, we talk to a lot of moms, and a lot of moms come in and they say they want to make this change to stop yelling at their kids. And we make goals in our balance program. And so this is one of the goals that we hear the most often. And stop yelling is not a good goal. It's
No.
not a good goal.
It's awful because it's because you should keep yelling all the time, right?
Yeah, and then you feel like a failure because you can't stop yelling. And like you make your goal, you're like, I will not yell when my kids do such and such. And then they do such and such. And you're like, what the hell?
Or
And then
even better, they don't do such and such. They do something completely different and you still lose your stuff and you yell. And like you said, then it comes back to, well, I'm a bad person because good moms don't yell. Good parents don't yell. Right? And why can't I be more gentle like so-and-so, your favorite parenting influencer you follow, or your best friend, or your sister, or your mom? I don't know. Like you constantly then start comparing that it's a personal default within you that you can't control the yelling.
And that's not true. It's not true at all. And like even comparing yourself to others, like the parenting influencers, sometimes when you get advice from people, and like we feel here at No Guilt Mom, we're very transparent with you about what we do. We make mistakes all the time.
Yep.
All the time. I'm not so much of a yeller, but I am a snide comment maker. And I do say some pretty harsh things that I then have to apologize for. Like a lot of passive aggressiveness comes through me that I have to apologize for.
But Bree on the other hand is a yeller. Her kids will tell you she's a yeller. And I do. And so let me kind of just back up slightly what we're saying. We're not saying that you can't not. That if you're a yeller, you're going to stuck being a yeller and it's going to be like, hey, I'm a yeller. That's just what I am going forward. There are things that you can do. But what we're saying is if you tend to have that moment where you just boil over, you raise your voice, you yell, there are things you can do to fix it. You didn't just break your child. Yeah. You didn't just become the Incredible Hulk or Frankenstein or some other kind of monster. It's okay. There are things that you can do. There are things you can do to recover from it, and there are things you can do to help decrease the amount of times that you yell. And I'll say that's what I have become over the years. Like I do not lose my cool nearly as much as I used to because of the things we're going to share and talk about.
I would say not yelling is not the change that you need to make. It's actually the result of other changes you need to make.
Yes, that is very well put.
It's like the side effect of other changes that you need to make, but it can't be controlled directly because we are basically held hostage by our nervous system. It's not in our brain's total control. It's our nervous system's control. It's how sensory stuff affects us, how loud noises affects us, how stress affects us, how like overburdened by the mental load we are. That really affects our patience and results in yelling a lot of the time. And we give ourselves shame for yelling, but really there are so many other factors in play. Dr. Mona Delahook, the author of Brain Body Parenting, and she's been on the podcast as well, talks about our body budget and how we have a specific number of things that we can handle at one time. And when our body budget goes over budget, that's when we have the big reactions. That's when we start yelling. That's where we get like really impatient with people. Yeah. I'm a very impatient person when I get over my body budget. That's what happens.
And there are things that we can do. So we're going to help share what you can do to help curb that yelling. Not stop it cold turkey, because that's a hard goal to have, but how to curb it. And then also what you can do when you're having those big reactions, how you can also then start to curb those as well. So got amazing things.
We have 4 things that you can work on. 4 things. So if you're not driving, take out your notes. Start taking notes. If you are driving, keep your eyes on the road because we will have this in a transcript or show notes for you.
Well,
so don't you worry.
Again, keep listening to us. We got good stuff here. We got good stuff. Keep listening. Good stuff.